much. I know the very first speaker, Abhishek, if it was a debate, I would have really wanted to sit down with you to talk about why banks are still needed even for financial inclusion. So for what I want to say today, if there was one thing that we can actually get away to move towards financial inclusion, we actually still need to work with the banks. And just like to introduce myself, I am Chief Strategy Officer and Head of Compliance for DTC Pay. DTC Pay is a company that has 6 activities out of the 7 for the major payment services license in Singapore. So from all the way from doing normal transactional payments, domestic payments, foreign payments, account issuance, also in what we call digital payment tokens, crypto can also be dealt with through DTC. What we do aim for is we also, just like DCS, merging or converging Web 2 and Web 3 together. Okay? So for us, our unique proposition here is that it's important for us to actually serve the infrastructure side, work with licensed institutions in Web 2, work with Web 3, so to make sure that everything is all connected. Because you will see later on, no matter how much we try to push for financial inclusion, there is a lot of regulation that you still need to be involved with. And then for you to push it, you still need to connect with the Web 2 players as well as the banks. Okay, so first part of my speech, I will want to talk about the opportunity side as to why crypto payments is going to be the next big thing. Actually, it's already happening. We're seeing a lot of use cases that are happening within DTC, as well as to the regulators, or the ones that are working closely with regulators, why it's very important to have it by design in your systems. Okay? For those, I know some of you I've seen here know that I've been in the crypto space since 2014. Okay, 2014, Bitcoin was only just, if some of you remember, $70. So I actually got my first Bitcoin at the MTR in Mongkok. So basically, I went to a site called Local Bitcoin. I had to use cash, and then brought my phone with me. I was willing to lose both my cash and my phone to go to that person, okay, to exchange the Bitcoin with me. Okay, why it was very interesting to me back then was that I was actually a very big gamer. I'm still a very big gamer. I play a lot of the World of Warcraft and all those different games. Buying digital currency was very, very difficult. Okay, a lot of these things were actually not purely, it's actually violating all the different rules inside the game. But when I saw and read about Bitcoin, by converting digital to hard cash, it was something very big for me. So obviously, I read the white paper and then went to Mongkok to exchange the Bitcoin with the person. So from then on, a lot of things were learned. Things were not even at the point where QR code was actually being used. And well, in China, it was already being used quite a lot, but Singapore was still very new. This was 2014. So even when my CTO, when I was working on a startup before, showed me that there was a QR code, I actually said he was crazy. Okay, this is not going to fly in Singapore. Okay, guess what? QR code is also a big thing in Singapore now today. Okay, so the wave of how things move is basically when there are countries that see and things are getting more convenient, other countries will also start to follow. Okay, so from then on, I also created the startup for doing the point of sales and all that for Bitcoin back then. And the biggest problem back then, unlike now, was that I needed to download a whole, for some of you, if you were in Bitcoin a long time ago, you have to download the whole hard drive just to store one wallet, all right? And then it took a few days for that wallet to actually store, to get ready and store that Bitcoin. However, for now, things have moved. A lot of the players are using the cloud services, using different centralized services to make the payments easier. So yes, there's still wallets that you can store yourself, but there are things that allow you to actually trust so that you can actually use them as well. Why I want to bring this up? Because back then, the crypto ecosystem was less than $200 million. Now we have an ecosystem that is over $1 trillion. And then when people start using crypto back then, they saw that it was an ecosystem that was very small, but now it is growing at a very, very rapid rate. Okay, so there are some companies. This is what I'm trying to show you, that there are some companies right now are treating the crypto ecosystem as a new realm, as you would say, for gamers, where you can actually accept a crypto to earn. So instead of accepting from a separate country or a new group of tourists, you can treat it as one whole crypto space for normal Web2 merchants to make money with. So these are two examples. Okay, there's increasing demand now. There's also increasing adoption. Okay, adoption not only on offline. We've seen a lot of our DTC clients of dealers, such as second-hand car dealers or memberships, that see that the need for stablecoin payments being the major part to solve a lot of their payment problems. Because a lot of the payments today still require a bank transfer, and sometimes bank transfers may take a few days, especially when you go international. Okay? So a lot of these are still growing, but at the same time, we are now seeing the market trying to accept more. You can see the ones that are in the US, including BitPay and all of them, are still growing at a very rapid rate. Okay? So for the retailers, as you can see here, many are already going towards and learning on digital currencies. Now back then, we were using Bitcoin to make payments, and only around 2018 going forward, we have this new technology that actually helped marry the Web 2 and Web 3, and that is the stablecoins. Stablecoins is a very, very good use case in the crypto space for merchants, for people to transact, and yet for yourselves, you can either keep the stablecoins yourself without going through a bank, or you can actually, many of the FIs, the financial institutions also are beginning to support that as well. Okay? So you can see from BitPay studies, a lot of them see that there is an element of cost saving for crypto. I want to see how many of you have transacted in stablecoins before. Can you push up? Can you put your hands up? Okay. How many of you have transacted in Bitcoin or crypto, the non-stable coins before? Okay, this allows me to know the crowd. Okay, this is good. So you can see that for stable coins, okay, if you compare with the payments of the speed of any wire transfer, it's less than 5 minutes, right? Less than 5 minutes, and depending on what chain, it can be even shorter. It doesn't matter if the amount is $1, $10, $10,000, $1 million, and so on. For the blockchain, by design itself, doesn't know of countries. It's by design one whole system by itself. Okay, so a lot of the businesses today are looking into stablecoins and growing from that space and seeing how to increase and make the stablecoin ecosystem much more robust. Okay, so you can see from the companies here, a little bit unclear, but you can see that a lot of the companies in the late 2020s, the big ones are starting to go into crypto, and most of them are going to crypto not because of Bitcoin, not because of Ethereum, but because of stablecoins. So as you can see, PayPal is also in the space as well. They have their own PYUSD, and a lot of them, and especially for PayPal, in most of the South American countries, it's easy for them to, for the consumers, to send and receive stablecoins. Okay, so I just need to rush a bit because I need to talk about the regulation part to let you know why we still need the banks. Okay, so we can see all these different brands, okay, are already accepting Bitcoin. Now to the part, I want to just fast forward to this. Okay, I'm also the chair of the Crypto Association in Singapore called Access. I've been co-founder of that since 2014. So the time when I started my startup, I was there working with MAS since that time. So I also worked with MAS and also with a lot of the different partners in Singapore on the payment services license since 2018. So in terms of all the different notices, especially for what we call the Payment Services Notice 02, which is about crypto, this was the one that we worked with. I worked with MAS on it to get what we have today. Now, MES is not the one that actually pushed out all the rules. In fact, I actually just came back from Vienna. We were at a meeting at the Financial Action Task Force where Alipay was there, Remitly, all the bigger companies, the central banks. We were all discussing how at this time now the financial institutions can actually work properly with the non-banks. So non-banks is equal to the ones like Alipay, like WeChat, like many in the crypto ecosystem as well. 5 years ago when we talked to them, when they imposed a particular rule on the crypto and non-banks, this is what they call the so-called the travel rule. Travel rule basically means that for any FIs, they need to share information to one another. So a sender licensed institution sending to a beneficiary, they must exchange information of the customer. Now in 2019, when they told the non-banks and us that we have to do this, we were basically all screaming. Because in the crypto space, we were already sending funds without the need of SWIFT. So how do we actually voluntarily actually send funds to each other, right? And also send the information. So back then, we were already working with the industry and the standards to make that much better. Okay, so back then, not only crypto, non-banks such as Alipay and them were also thinking how to comply. So at the meeting that we had just then, the main players were not crypto. It was actually Alipay and Remitly coming to say, we are working towards financial inclusion, but we have a very big problem. Banks want us to share information from the sender information and financial information, but but most of the non-banks work with the local banking rails. So a lot of the local banking rails do not have all the information that is required for sending. So how do you actually work with how do the banks actually work with the non-banks? Non-banks, again, I mean by crypto as well. So this time was very interesting. At that meeting, even the banks were saying, we want to work with non-banks, but we have a problem now. Okay, they understand what non-banks are trying to do. Banks only can do so much. They want to partner with the non-banks, including crypto, but we need to solve all the regulation. Okay, so right now, a lot of the regulation is being pushed on us, what we call Recommendation 16. As for, you can see on the regulation, this is for the crypto part, okay? So for crypto regulation, most of it already is regulated, except some of the ones in orange. Actually, this one is actually only 2 years old, but it's already quite outdated. A lot of the African institutions are now getting themselves regulated as well, okay? So what is the problem right now, okay? When we were talking for 5 years, this was what was said by the Financial Action Task Force president. Okay, so Financial Action Task Force is the AML body that regulates all anti-money laundering around the world. Okay, right now we have only 30% of all jurisdictions being largely compliant with the regulations. By not being compliant, when crypto companies or non-banks try to go out, they can't get bank accounts. There's a lot of things that they can't do. Yes, we need to think of financial inclusion, but you still need to build the infrastructure to actually go and push it. So right now, a lot of the institutions, a lot of the governments actually don't know how to implement the rules for crypto and also for non-bank regulation as well. So I'm watching my time, many of the associations, including myself, have come up with a particular model law that we use on the particular platform to try and push this out. Okay? What this is, just for context, the Commonwealth right now is not really Commonwealth anymore. Anyone can join. However, we've used this platform with a number of associations to push a particular law so that particular model law so that they can actually follow. And then all the different jurisdictions can be licensed. So when you become licensed, players can go in there easily, and all the banks will support. And then you can continue doing the work that you need towards financial inclusion, towards the Web3, and so on. Okay, this is something that we have spoken to the regulators, and they are now reviewing this as well. And I hope some of the Hong Kong regulators here are also looking into this, because this actually will allow a lot of the rules that were imposed on by the Financial Action Task Force to actually be for you to actually have a sort of plug and play ecosystem. So lastly, just want to tell all of us, we do need regulation. It's not that we do, it's more like that it is there for us, and we just need to work with the regulators together because we still need the banks in order for us to push what we need to do, especially for Web3 companies. They want to go into financial inclusion, to go to the last ramp. We still need to work together with the banks. Okay, that's it from me. Thank you very much.